This is a presentation of Insurance WebEx. Today's topic, guaranteed lifetime income, with syndicated financial columnist and talk show host Steve Savant, and popular platform speaker, best-selling author, and retirement expert Tommy Hagna.
Welcome to Insurance WebEx. I'm Steve Savant, syndicated financial columnist and talk show host. This is Tom Hagna, and Tom, we're talking today about guaranteed lifetime income you can't outlive.
Yeah, so in my book, Don't Worry, Retire Happy, I list 7 steps to a successful retirement. And step number 5 is one of the most important. It's securing more guaranteed lifetime income. Now, if you think about it, there are 3 sources of guaranteed lifetime income. The first source is Social Security. But what is Social Security? It's a lifetime income annuity. The second source is a pension. But what is a pension? A pension is a lifetime income annuity. And what math and science demands is that when you retire, you cover your basic living expenses with guaranteed lifetime income. So Social Security counts and pension counts. But whatever you're short, you're supposed to go to an insurance company and buy a lifetime income annuity.
Okay, so this is the three-legged stool of retirement. Once we have this in place, we have pretty much a good foundation.
Yeah, and it's because you take key risks off the table when you cover your basic expenses with guaranteed lifetime income. You take withdrawal rate risk, market risk, deflation risk. There's a lot of risk sequence of returns risk. You take a lot of the risks off the table to include longevity risk when you cover those basic living expenses with guaranteed lifetime income. Now, a lot of people think their retirement is all about their assets, and that they've been taught that the bigger the pile of money, the better their retirement. Well, that's not true, because your assets can be lost, they can be stolen, they can be swindled, they can be sued, they can be divorced, they can be decimated in a market crash or wiped out by long-term care. See, what's more important to your retirement is really how you answer these 2 questions. Question number 1, how much guaranteed lifetime income do you have? Notice I didn't ask, what was your return on your investment last year? Did you outperform the S&P 500? That will have very little to do with the success of your retirement. Far more important is, how much guaranteed lifetime income do you have, and have you taken the key risks off the table? Now, Steve, there are a lot of risks in retirement. We spend a lot of time talking about them, but there's market risk, withdrawal rate risk, sequence of returns risk. We might have inflation, might have deflation. You might need long-term care. You might die. There's a lot of risks in retirement, but there's only one number 1 risk. The number 1 risk in retirement by far is longevity risk. Why? Because it's not just a risk. It's a risk multiplier of all those other risks. See, Steve, the longer you live, the more likely the market will crash. The longer you live, the more likely you'll take out too much money. The longer you live, the more likely inflation will decimate your purchasing power. The longer you live, the more likely you're going to need long-term care. See, if you retire when you're 65 and you drop dead when you're 68, it doesn't matter if the market crashes 10,000 points, or if inflation is 15%, or if you were drawing 12% a year, you forgot to buy long-term care insurance. You didn't live long enough. But if you live to be 75, 80, 85, 90, it's all those other risks that will wipe you out. So all the research I can find on the subject of retirement says to retire successfully, you've got to take longevity risk off the table. Well, guess what? Stocks can't do it. Bonds can't do it. Mutual funds can't do it. Real estate can't do it. CDs cannot do it. So what can do it? It's a pretty short list. A lifetime income annuity can do it. A deferred income annuity can do it. Or an income or withdrawal benefit rider from a fixed, indexed, or variable annuity can do it. That is it. What do all those products have in common? One word: annuity. What all the research I can find from the smartest PhDs in the world who study retirement says this: to retire successfully, you must have an annuity in your portfolio. Why? Because only an annuity can take longevity risk off the table. Why? Because only a life insurance company can issue an annuity. Why? Because only a life insurance company sells life insurance to be on the other side of that risk. See, Steve, think about it. What is the risk to an insurance company when they sell a life insurance policy? The risk is somebody dies, and they die real soon. What's the risk if they sell a lifetime income annuity? That somebody lives, and they live a real long time. She's 115 and she won't quit breathing. Well, guess what? Because they're on both sides of that risk, they can neutralize mortality and longevity risk in a way that brokers can't, bankers can't. No other investment can do it. This is a key concept people need to understand.
Tom, we're talking to advisors. This is a hard paradigm to change. We've been taught all our life, accumulate assets. Yeah. You're saying now, oh no, it's all about income.
It's all about income. It's not about assets. It's all about income. And see, every check you get from one of these lifetime income annuities is composed of 3 parts. Principal, anybody can give you principal. Interest, anybody can give you interest. But only a life insurance company manufactures the secret sauce. The third ingredient that you don't get in stocks or bonds or real estate, that in my first book I called mortality credits, in this book I call longevity credits. And what math and science says is if you put together a retirement portfolio and you do not have any of these longevity credits in that portfolio, math and science will prove that that portfolio is suboptimal, less than what it could or what it should be.
Well, let's look through and show graphically what this looks like.
Yeah, so here's a simple story. Every year there were 5 9-year-old ladies who went on vacation. One year, one lady said, hey, let's each put $100 in this box. We'll tape up the box, and next year when we go on vacation, we'll bring the box with us, and those of us who are still alive, we'll open the box and we'll split the money. They said, Helen, that's a great idea. So you got 5 9-year-old ladies, each put $100 in the box. It's $500. They taped up the box. What do you think happened the next year? They forgot where they put the box. No, I just made that one. No, unfortunately, one lady's died. So now 4 ladies split the $500. They each get $125. Now, that was a 25% rate of return in 12 months. I got 2 questions for you. How much of that money was invested in the stock market? 0. What interest rate did earn that taped up dust to your box? 0. How they get paid 25% with no money in the market, no interest rate? It's because they got paid these longevity credits. So ladies looked at that. They looked at the brokerage account. They said, hey, this is a pretty good deal. I think we ought to put it back in the box, tape it back up, and do it again. So they decided to let it ride. The next year, one more lady died. Now 3 ladies split the $500. They each get $167. That's a 67% return in 2 years. No money in the market, no interest rate. Why? Because they got paid these longevity credits. Now, Steve, what some people say is, yeah, but I don't want my money to disappear when I die. Do you have to have your money disappear when you die? No. You could have the paycheck go to your wife. It could continue to a son or daughter. It could continue to a grandchild. These things can pay for 100 years. All lifetime income annuities pay longevity credits. The older you are, the longer you live, the fewer guarantees, the more of these longevity credits you get paid. Now, here it is graphically. Every check you get is composed of 3 parts. Principal, that's the orange box. Anybody can give you that. Interest, that's the gray box. Anybody can give you that. But only a life insurance company manufactures these longevity credits. Only a life insurance company can guarantee you will never, ever, ever run out of money. A banker can't do that, and a broker can't do that.
Tom, just a real quick question. I noticed that the interest rate depicted in gray here is really dwarfed by the mortality credits itself.
Yeah, see, people think this is a low interest rate environment. First of all, we could get in a whole discussion. This is not a low interest rate environment. This is the new interest rate environment. Get used to it. You're going to have it around for a long time. But an annuity is really not an interest rate play. It's a longevity credit play. And here's what I would tell you. As people live longer and longer and longer, and they are because of medical technology, what do you think is going to happen to these longevity credits? They're going to be compressed. That's why 100% of my own personal new purchases are going in for guaranteed lifetime income. Why? Because I'm trying to lock in the highest longevity credits I'm ever going to see for the rest of my life. Now, Steve, I talk math and science all the time. And by the way, I know there's a doubter or two out there. So I'm going to give you a chance to prove me wrong. If you don't believe what I'm saying, here's all you got to do. You can work with your favorite stockbroker. Here's all you got to do. Set up a portfolio that has both stocks and bonds. Take some of the bonds out, put a guaranteed lifetime income annuity in. Do you know what that'll do to every one of those portfolios? It'll lower the risk and increase the returns. If you don't believe me, prove me wrong. But here's why you can't. Inside of a portfolio, the way that a lifetime income annuity works, it works like a AAA rated bond with a CCC rated yield with 0 standard deviation. Hey, Steve, what would happen to your portfolio if you had a AAA rated bond with a CCC rated yield with 0 standard deviation? It would lower the risk and increase return. See, Tommy's not making this stuff up. I talk a lot about math and science, but let me talk about something even more important. I call it the happy factor. See, I always ask people, when you're retired, do you want to be happy or unhappy? Most people say happy. And I say, well, if you really want to be happy, the Wall Street Journal discovered the secret. Look at this. The secret to a happier retirement is friends, neighbors, and a fixed annuity. What the Wall Street Journal studied are who are the happiest people in retirement. You know what they found? People surrounded by their friends, surrounded by their families, who had guaranteed paychecks every single month. Steve, think about it. Who are the happiest people you know in retirement?
Government workers.
Yeah, it's retired military, retired government, retired teachers, people with pensions. See, it's been proven that study after study, people with pensions are happier in retirement than people who don't have pensions. See, happiness in retirement is tied almost 100% to guaranteed lifetime income, not assets. Think about it. Who are the most miserable people you know? They're loaded. They got assets out the wazoo, but they're losing money in Russia. They're losing money in China. They're losing money in oil. Now they're losing money in our markets. These people are miserable. Assets make you miserable in retirement. What makes you happy is guaranteed lifetime income. Time magazine found the same thing in Great Britain. Lifetime income stream key to retirement happiness. A new study in a land of grumps reveals that retirees with a guaranteed lifetime income stream can find true happiness. They finished by saying securing at least a base level of lifetime income should be every retiree's priority, at least if they want to live happily ever after. And if people still don't believe me, Steve, they can Google Towers Watson and Annuities and Retirement Happiness. They wrote a whole white paper. You can download it for free. And what they did is they studied all retirees, old retirees, young retirees, rich retirees, poor retirees. You know what they found? All retirees were happier if they had guaranteed lifetime income.
Well, give us a story. You tell a story out of your retirement, your Money Masters, I think it's Retirement Masters, and that book. And you tell a story that's really good, and I think everybody listening would really pick up on it and use it with their client.
So I always say this is not a knowledge business anymore. This is a words business. This is a language business. This is a questions business, and this is a stories business. And so I'll tell you a quick story, and this came out of my book, Retirement Income Masters. Here's a guy by the name of Dick Austin. He's been in the business for over 40 years. He's been recommending guaranteed lifetime income for over 30 years. And he tells a story in the book. He said there was a family from Boston that had never been to the desert before. They'd never seen a cactus or a coyote or a lizard, but they wanted to. So they booked a family vacation to Death Valley, California, and they're going to go through Death Valley, through Nevada, into Arizona. And they booked it for the middle of July. Well, Steve, when they landed, it was 127 degrees. Now, 127 degrees is so hot, you can fry eggs on the pavement. But it was okay. They had a big old Lincoln Continental with ice cold air conditioning. And they climb in the Lincoln Continental and they start their drive. And at first it was sand dunes. It went on and on. They never seen so much sand. Then there was cactus after cactus. There were lizards everywhere. There's a tarantula. There's a coyote. There's a rattlesnake eating a rabbit. Never saw it before. Having the time of their lives. Well, as the day went long, somebody noticed the gas gauge was now almost on E. And the next town was over 100 miles away. Well, now panic ensued. The air conditioner went off. The windows came down. The heat of the day poured in. They started sweating. Now they started fighting and arguing. How could you be so stupid not to fill the tank before we go across Death Valley? Hey, how fast should we drive? Guy in the back seat said, I don't know. Looks pretty flat. I'd probably speed her up to 100, 110. We could probably coast for 5 or 6 miles. The other guy says, you are a moron. We got to slow this down to 30. We got to save fuel. The lady in the car said, I read a report once. It's 52.4 miles per hour is the optimal speed to drive across the desert. But here they are. They're fighting. They're arguing. They're sweating. They're miserable. And all their eyes were on the gas gauge as it went down, down, down. And they knew they were going to run out. They just didn't know when. And Dick says, that's why you need a lifetime income annuity. He says, see, everybody thinks running out of money in retirement is about the day you run out. He said, that's not true. It's all those years in retirement when you know you're running out and you're fighting and you're arguing and you're miserable. And all your eyes are on the bank account as it goes down, down, down. And you know you're going to run out. You just don't know when. He said, having a lifetime income annuity is just like having a quarter tank of gas guaranteed all the way across Death Valley. Look, I don't know how many different ways I can show people, but you've got to have guaranteed lifetime income to, number one, for the ultimate success of your retirement. Number two, if you want to be happy in retirement. Steve, I'm going to even give your listeners a bonus today. If you want to live longer. You know, I post a lot of stuff on Facebook and LinkedIn, and I recently posted a Freakonomics study. This was actually a University of Chicago study. And they looked at people who bought lifetime income annuities versus people who didn't. You know what they found, Steve? The people who bought lifetime income annuities lived longer than the people who didn't. So now, whether you want to take mathematical, scientific facts, you want to be happy, or you want to live longer, there's a lot of reasons why you should incorporate guaranteed lifetime income into your clients' portfolios.
Well, I'm Steve Savant for Tommy Hagna, and you've been watching Insurance WebEx.
This has been a presentation of Insurance WebEx.